Welcome to top 5 early game builds for Baldur's Gate 3 in no particular order. Add your own in comment section to tell me how wrong I am, you hot-headed bastards, as I had to pick 5 out of many available ones. Link to Baldur's Gate 3 wiki site with info about equipment location is in the description. Just type in name of the item into the wiki. I'm mostly using items from Wilderness with occasional mention of Underdark and Greenforge only obtainable stuff. Let's start with the thrower build that is on my channel. It is the best early game DPS build as nothing can match its damage output per round. Class is Barbarian. There are 2 ways to distribute attribute points depending on Infinite Elixir of Healed Giant Strength method or Club of Healed Giant Strength. Link on how to achieve Infinite Elixirs of Strength is in the description. With the Elixir or Club of Giant Strength you can do whatever you want with attributes, but I would suggest 15 points into Constitution. Without the Elixir or Club, put 17 into Strength, 14 Dexterity and 14 Constitution with rest optional. At level 3 choose Berserker subclass due to Enraged throw additional attack. At level 4 choose Tavern Brawler feat and add +1 to Strength without Elixir method or +1 to Constitution with the Elixir method to round it up to 16. Crucial equipment piece is Sparkle Hands, as it does additional lightning damage and triggers lightning burst after accumulating 5 charges for even more damage. Ring of Flinging is another important piece of gear. Get to the high ground, use Frenzy and start throwing weapons with throw tag like javelins or heavy equipment for crazy damage per round. With Enraged throw you have 2 throws per round without haste, and at level 5 3 throws are available. To finish any encounter fast, use Potion of Speed or Haste on the thrower and keep it alive while it kills everything in a matter of few rounds. Second build is full support that is gonna help tremendously in everything but DPS until later. However, that is not what this one is for. It is a decent tank, great healer, buffer and is gonna help tremendously with out of combat checks, especially dialogues. Basically, by having such support focused build in the party you can have 3 fully fledged DPS next to it without worrying about party composition anymore. Start off with Life Cleric for better heals and heavy armor proficiency. Strength and Dexterity can be at 10, Constitution at 15, Intelligence is a dump stat, 16 Wisdom and 15 Charisma. Guidance spell is a must-have from cantrips. Change skills and add Medicine and Persuasion. After 3 Cleric levels, either go into 4th Cleric to improve Constitution and Charisma to 16 or switch to 2 Bard levels and then at level 6 go for 4th Cleric. Vicious Mockery is a great cantrip as it puts disadvantage on next attack roll, so spam that freely whenever there is no need to buff or heal. Here are a couple items that make the build much better. Cap of Curing for minor additional heals when using Bardic Inspiration. Vapira's Crown also fits great. Hellrider's Pride gloves are fantastic to make every healed party member resistant to physical damage. Wondrous gloves from Greenforge are also great. Boots of Aid and Comfort work great with Aid spell as temporary hit points from those 2 sources stack. Ring of Salving and Whispering Promise for better heals and Short Bless buff for healed target. Amulet of Restoration for more heals per rest. There are a couple great early weapons for this build like Falar Aluv, Club of Giant Strength, Cyanide and Melv's First Staff. Glowing Shield works well too. Spells to use aside from cantrips are Healing Word, Cure Wounds, Bless, Aid, Bardic Inspiration, Command and Spiritual Weapon. Depending on the situation add others too, but these served me best through most of the game. Next combination is 3 Rogue Thief with either 2 Fighter or 2 Ranger. Both combinations work great with interchangeable melee and ranged style. Again, attribute distribution depends on Elixir of Strength and Club of Strength. Before acquiring enough Elixirs or the club, put 16 into Strength, 16 into Dexterity and 14 Constitution. After having enough Elixirs or the club, respec to dump Strength and pump points into Dexterity and Constitution as much as possible. Start off with 3 rogue levels and at level 3 choose Thief as subclass. Then 2 levels into Fighter or Hunter with Archery fighting style. If going for Hunter, definitely take Hunter's Mark spell and next to that something like Long Strider that doesn't require spell slots. Most important piece of gear is Titan String Bow, as it uses Strength and Dexterity modifiers accumulated as damage bonus. Next to that, use 2 best melee weapons that can be dual wielded. Gloves of Archery are a must for early game. Add to that Broodmother's Revenge for additional poison damage dished out after getting healed. With one shot, this build can do over 40 damage with Sneak Attack and Hunter's Mark. Next to that, melee is far from a problem as we are very dangerous in that area as well. Best of all, 2 bonus actions mean that we can go in and out of stealth at will or dash across ridiculous distances with Cunning Dash and the Long Strider. If playing as Dark Urge, then Deathstalker Mantle is gonna take this build to even more ridiculous level. Next one we have good old Warlock and its Eldritch Blast plus Hex combo. It is one of the easiest and highly effective builds to play. Will is the perfect candidate for it. 14 Dexterity, 16 Constitution and 16 Charisma. Start off with 2 levels into Warlock and go for the Great Old One subclass. Eldritch Blast cantrip and Hex spell, agonizing and repelling blast invocations. Then go for 2 levels into Fighter for Action Surge. Upon reaching level 5, respec again and go full 5 levels Warlock. At 3rd Warlock level, pick any pact you want. At level 4, go for either Spell Sniper or plus 2 Charisma ability improvement. Point of 5 Warlock levels is Hunger of Hadar spell that is extremely powerful. Can't be used with Hex due to concentration, but it is extremely powerful on its own versus large groups of enemies. From equipment, only early essential gear I can think of is Spell Sparkler Staff. Sparkle Hands gloves are good to give advantage against enemies with metal armor and metallic constructs. Before level 5, just use Hex and Eldritch Blast combo and then start adding Hunger of Hadar for fights where it makes sense to be used. It's that simple. Last one is Tavern Brawler Monk. Beast, offensively and defensively. However, I do suggest to stack up on Elixirs of Heal Strength for this build due to hefty stat requirement. First 3 levels play normal 16 Dexterity and 16 Wisdom based open hand subclass of Monk. Upon hitting level 4, choose Tavern Brawler Feat as it adds strength modifier twice to damage and attack rolls with unarmed strikes, which is a huge boost to overall DPS. Now attributes should be, if you don't plan on utilizing Elixir all the time, 16 strength, 14 dexterity, 13 constitution and 14 wisdom. With Tavern Brawler feat add +1 to constitution to get it to 14. With the Elixir, stats can be as you started with 16 dexterity, 16 wisdom and 15 constitution. Constitution with Tavern Brawler feat ends up at 16 too. Gear to have early on are Ring of Protection and Bracers of Defense, which would get AC to 19 with the Elixir version stat distribution and 17 without the Elixir. Add on top of that Patient Defense and you get yourself fantastic tank with high DPS. Get a healer, preferably the one from this list, and you can duo through most stuff on Tactician difficulty. That would be all, thanks for watching, hopefully this was helpful. If it wasn't and you're still struggling, use straight up Fighter as it is going to get the job done no matter what. Anyway, see you.